Alright, so these ones also are good. They're just leather hard right now. And so the shape is pretty good. Okay, we're just going to refine it a little bit with our loop tool. So working on this rim right here, what I want to do is just bring down any of the high spots, making it a little bit thinner. And also, um, oftentimes there's little fingerprints and whatnot that are in here. And so we could sand those out, but it might be just as easy to take them out with the loop tool at this point. Loop tool might even be better because it's got a broader surface area, so it might actually make it flatter. So sometimes I can assume that students just know the most basic of things, and sometimes the students do as well. But just little things, like I was working with a girl earlier today, and just holding the loop tool, how she went about doing it. So in this case, obviously, I would hold this part down, and that would help me get further reach in there. Something that seems obvious, but you never know. Maybe that's something that you missed, and you just didn't know how to do that. I can really see as I scrape this that I've got some points that are not obviously low when I first look at it. When I first looked at it, it looked like really flat. But no, because the tool is straight across here, it's a little bit more honest than my eyes. And so in doing this, I can see the low spots. And it's okay, I've made this plenty thick enough to where taking a little bit of material off won't hurt anything. Be careful because the loop tool can take a lot of material off at one time if you're not careful. That's also why it's better to use the loop tool when the clay is a little bit firmer. You don't want to do it when the clay is real moist. It makes it really difficult actually. Okay, and so I'm going all the way down in towards the bottom here with my smoothing. And as I do this, I'm going to get a lot of these little flakes. And whatever you can just dump out, dump out. But I wouldn't try to brush them out like with your hands because you might end up making them just stick back to here. And it's kind of difficult. As this gets drier and drier, it'll be much easier to just dump those flakes out. They'll brush right out, no problem. But right now, while it's wet, it might be a little bit difficult. They might want to stick. So round and round I go with this. And in these tutorials, I'll usually go and I'll fade through something. So something that actually took, let's say, 3 or 4 minutes of going round and round and round, maybe even longer. I'll cut down to like 5 seconds, right? But know that this stuff does take some time. And just relax with it, Ceramics should be relaxing, not a high tension sort of thing. Okay, so this rim right here, I want to smooth this off. Now, when I was down here, it's just I wasn't applying much pressure and just letting it flake, flake, flake off here. When I'm going to be trimming this rim here, I've got to be much more careful. So go here, a little bit more of an angle, short strokes, no pressure whatsoever on the blade. I really like this having this paper plate here too, because it allows me to turn this really easily. I think that's a habit that I might take up. Okay, so that inside's looking pretty good. Now I'll take a look at the outside. Very gentle, very small, short strokes. It'd be so easy to just like gouge into this. Okay, good enough. So I'm going to let this dry a little bit here. I'll probably still moisten the bottom though when I add the footer. I'll do the rest of these and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so as I was working on this, I decided to show you an example of trimming up the bottoms as well. So just in the same way that I could trim up the top, I could take and I could even out the sides a little bit by holding the loop tool at just a certain angle, right? And kind of like when I've taken and trimmed the tops, I could do this, holding this really steady, just back and forth, but not changing the angle of it. Here, if you can see, so this moves, right? But this angle here never changes. Okay, so I've got this here, and just here, and little by little by little, if I keep spinning that, shaving off just little bits at a time, never changing that angle, then I can get this nice and straight at the bottom.